And we're live. Welcome to ComicCast, issue number 147. Brought to you by Dwayne's World Comics and Games, 457 East Sullivan Street in Kingsport, Tennessee. They carry comic books, graphic novels, statues, toys, gaming merchandise, miniature games, board games, and RPGs. Check them out, Dwayne's World Comics and Games, Kingsport, Tennessee. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Dark Phoenix, Walking Dead, Swamp Thing, DC Vertigo has been canceled, or has it? We got some controversial books to talk about. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Adam Waid Adams.
And this is Gaumer.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm hearing things because I'm pretty sure I just heard a laugh track in the background for David. Either that or the kids in his neighborhood are looking in his window.
The psycho kids from his neighborhood.
The psycho kids from my neighborhood. The one that wants to go to the strip club, who's only like 10 years old and wants to kill my cat.
Oh, man.
That's weird, dude.
Does he, though?
Does he, though?
I don't know. I'm weirded out by that. I'm like, that's a red flag for a serial killer. That's one of the triumvirate.
Oh, man. Dexter Jr. living next door. Maybe you could be his Dexter and train him in the ways.
That's what you need to do, man. You need to do a solid for the rest of society and make sure that this kid doesn't grow up to be a serial killer.
This is what you do if you don't want to get caught.
He's gonna kill bad guys. That's Dexter. Come on.
But who's really
You're
a bad
like
guy
Alfred.
in today's society?
You're like Alfred. Oh man, don't go there. Don't go there first. Anyway, let's give it some time.
Where was he going? I missed it. I was trying to share out the link.
He was like, who really are the bad people in society?
Oh, yeah, we're going there later.
Oh, meta. Meta.
It is a metaverse.
Oh, my gosh. Did we even talk about that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
There's that doomsday clock. You know,
Yes,
let me bring
that
up
was last
doomsday
week.
clock. Because I think we've tend to do this every episode, and maybe we should for the build up to 150. But the bullies want to know exactly what kind, and I'm talking about the Comic Book Bullies podcast, what kind of wrestling match are we actually going to have? Because I don't think I was part of that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I don't. You obviously don't listen to the show, Boog. That's okay. I'm sure they won't mind.
I listened to the last one where they were slamming us.
They did slam us. The most recent one, they were talking about a wrestling match that you said we were gonna have between us and them. I'm not wrestling. Especially after watching Undertaker Goldberg. Something bad's going to happen.
Dude,
I'm way too old.
You told me you were excited for that match. It seriously made me throw up in my mouth.
Dude, no, I wasn't. What did I say? I was excited for it?
Yeah.
I don't think I said I was excited.
I'm stoked for this match.
Oh, I don't. Well,
I love to watch two old men wrestle and fall in the ring and hurt each other.
Dude, after seeing it, maybe I did say that. I'm not going to, because I say a lot of stupid things depending on which chemicals I've induced myself under that evening. Anyway, the match was horrible. I thought someone was going to die. Literally, I thought someone was going to be seriously hurt.
Yeah, that's what happens when an old man wrestles for the first time. You can't do that.
It was terrible.
But you rip on Chris Jericho. I'm so disappointed in you. But yeah, I think it should be ComicCast versus the comic book bullies in a Tennessee street fight.
Okay, what does that mean? Go ahead and explain that, because the bullies aren't going to know. They have no chance.
They have no chance. They have no chance. Anything goes. We're going to fight in the streets.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Are we bringing guns to knife fights, or are we bringing knives?
Who said anything about guns?
You said anything goes. You said
anything goes.
Mark Waid? Jeez.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, can we talk about some comic book stuff?
Yeah. Steel Cage. Yeah, I am more of a mouth of the South type, Yule. I am. I can talk smack from the side really, really well.
So it's going to be me and Adam versus the bullies. David is scared to come out of his tinfoil house, and you're going to be our manager. Cool. The odds have just been evened. We're in trouble.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I can't wait. But they're going to be on the 150 spectacular.
Oh, so is everybody. It's going to be insanity.
It's going to be insanity. I can't wait.
What are we, like 3 weeks away?
I don't know.
So I went to see Dark Phoenix.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It was cool, man. I liked it. I enjoyed it. it's not fair to compare it to the Avengers movies, but that's what everybody does, right? But do you remember when all the X-Men movies first started coming out? Like that's what got people into not into comic book movies, but it was the X-Men movies were such a big deal. Like a lot of people watched them. And then it's like
prove the concept that, we could pull this off with CGI and modern effects and,
Well, it was the X-Men and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But Dark Phoenix is cool, man. It's a good movie. It's not you don't have to go see it in the theater, but it's good. I wasn't disappointed in it.
Everybody I've talked to who has actually seen it says, yeah, it was all right.
It was good. But I openly admit I like every movie I go to see in the theater.
Oh, yeah, you really do.
It's the experience.
Sure.
But there were like 7 people there.
I think the problem is, and I think you touched on it a bit, the MCU has just got our expectations just so damn high for these sorts of movies. I'm sorry, they're not the MCU. And
at least not
honestly,
yet.
I'll make a prediction. I think moving forward, the MCU isn't really going to be the MCU anymore. It's going to be hard to capture that same sort of magic that they built with Iron Man. And we're spoiling Endgame now. It's been 2 months. Get over it. But Captain America and Thor's still going to be there, but Thor's not going to be, the same sort of character that he was. I think the Guardians still have a lot of that, but I don't know if they can carry a franchise the way like Captain America and Iron Man did, and they're gone. And they're not coming back.
Do you think they're going to lean on Spider-Man?
They have to. They have to, but they still technically don't own Spider-Man. They are leasing Spider-Man.
But that's the way the trailer looked. It looked like he's the new Tony, basically.
I don't know. Maybe they should bring Riri in, right?
They may have already brought Riri in a different way.
With
Morgan.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that. They're not going to race swap a character like that from the comics to the screen. It's okay if they go the other direction, but they won't go from a black character to a white character. Is this the comic book bullies? Is turning?
I was gonna say Leroy would be so proud.
He will be, but I don't think we're allowed to talk about this.
Oh, we're gonna talk about racing a little bit. Don't worry, Mark Waid. I got something to say to you, buddy.
Oh, we'll see.
Stick around. It's gonna be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, it's cool that an X-Men movie can still be good. I don't know what people are expecting. Come on. The movies haven't been that good for a few years. A few of them.
What about Logan? I thought Logan was great.
I think it's an outlier.
Of like the X universe movies.
But this reminded me of Logan in a sense where you could sit down and not know anything about the X-Men and probably follow along with it. At least that's the way it came off to me.
Yeah. Are you the only one who saw it?
Probably. I didn't even ask you guys if you were going because I assumed nobody would go see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Sorry.
Adam, you didn't see it?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, that's good, Boog.
You're welcome. Do you want me to keep driving? Do you guys want me to keep driving this train and just roll on to the next topic?
Took a hit for the team there.
No, I didn't. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. My daughter really wanted to see it. So
there you go.
Dude, Friday I was like, after I got off work, I was like, I really don't want to go see this movie. Sacrifices, man.
My wife is a big fan. She likes the X-Men movies even now more than she likes the Marvel movies. She just likes those characters. She likes the X-Men as characters. It's not even that they're good or bad movies,
They're just movies.
If you ask my wife what her favorite movies are, they're all 80s classics. If you ask her what the best movies are, they're all Oscar award winning, amazing, huge Lincoln and shit like that. My wife's, you think I'm a stickler for shit. She's a stickle.
Yule Carter in the chat says, "Oh yeah, stick it to Waid. Stick around, Yule, because we're going to talk about Ignited #1, and it could get heated."
We'll see.
I don't know. Let's talk about Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing canceled after 1 episode. What do you know the facts? Can you provide the facts to that?
I don't know if we actually know with 100% certainty what happened. But I guess the gist of it is there appears to have been a miscommunication between the accountants at Warner Brothers and the state of North Carolina in the context of some sort of tax deduction. Like the pilot was included, but was not included by, I don't know. It gets really lawyery and complicated, and I don't care enough to really dig that deep into it.
How does that happen? Millions of dollars? How does that happen?
Red tape, you could blame it on the government. big business. You can blame it on the bloating.
Clerical errors.
Yeah, you can blame it on the bloat of the American, industrial system. I think it was just some dude didn't read what he was supposed to read. Just it was probably that simple. One guy just didn't read what he thought he read, and I don't know. Yeah, I heard it was a clerical error.
That's ridiculous.
He's saying
clerical error leads to all of this.
He's saying a clerical error on the state's part. I've heard other things that say it was a clerical error on WB's part. Again, I don't think we're ever going to know the entire crux of it. I think the most important thing is, and I didn't watch it, was it a good episode?
Yes.
Yes.
I heard the first episode is a knock out of the park, dude. I heard it was amazing.
The first episode's pretty dope.
The entire first season will air. So no second season. So.
Adam, did you watch the second episode?
No, not yet.
I wanted to watch it.
My biggest thing about this, as somebody who dives into this sort of thing, why would you announce the cancellation after one episode, even if you knew?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the first thing I said to you guys. It's like it sours watching this season that I love the first episode on.
It's like they're setting it up to fail. Why do that? Set it up to succeed, where you'll work your ass off to find a new location, or who knows? Even if it takes an extra year for them to get it back on track. Why let the fans down? Not only the fans, but the service. It'd be different if this was just some show on ABC. You're trying to sell an entire streaming and comic book delivery service with this.
Well,
and you soured it.
It might be to stir up outrage from the comic. And once they see that, they'll start getting offers. They'll be able to shop it to someone else.
That's a good point.
I've seen rumors already of CW and HBO. I don't know if those are accurate or where those came from, but I did see it. If it was on Twitter, it must be true.
If it's going to work on CW, they're going to have to change a lot.
There's
of what
no way.
It
has to be HBO.
It has to.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a big cluster mess. This whole it's a fiasco, dude. Man, one thing, I don't have the DC universe, but I did hear someone talking about it. Like, they watched Swamp Thing, and when Swamp Thing was over, it says, "Oh, you like Swamp Thing? Why don't you go read the Swamp Thing comic also on DC Universe, the Alan Moore?" What? That's genius to me,
and it's
dude.
Organized so well, well.
That's what I keep hearing. That not only does it have cool shows, but it's got this awesome service. Adam, you have the service, right? Or are you watching it on a third party? That's okay.
I think I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one. No, David got it.
I have the free trial. I haven't delved into the comic books, but there is a lot of comic books on there.
Yeah,
I've been pretty much watching Doom Patrol. I'm not through the whole season yet, but I'm thoroughly enjoying Doom Patrol.
But that's something I wouldn't probably take a lot of. I might dive into Elseworlds. I like Elseworlds, but I'm not big on digital comics, so I don't know if I would actually utilize that part of the service.
But you know what's cool about it is pulling it up on your flat screen TV in your living room and reading panel to panel. So a panel is on a huge TV screen. Like, I'm not a big fan of reading digital comics either, but it's pretty nice on a TV.
Yeah.
Versus a phone or a tablet.
Yeah. And that's true. Another way DC is trying to push out comic shops with the digital stuff.
Yeah, that's a big reason why I don't like digital comics too, is because of local comic shops. What are we going to do then? Are you going to go all digital?
Eventually they will.
Oh, don't say that in front of Yule. What's he going to do?
Digital is an overall better product for both the consumer and the manufacturer, and the environment. I hate to say, I'm not saying I lean one way or the other. It's just a fact. But yeah, it's the only thing keeping the niche comic shop from actually, leaving what it is now. So it's difficult. Man, we could go on and on about that, dude. We really could. There's so many pluses and minuses to both of those.
Well, when we start talking about digital comics, it's a ripoff that you're not getting a discount. We say that all the time too.
The only reason you don't have the discount is because they don't want to undercut everybody down the chain of the traditional distribution, the distributor, the printers, all of them. They don't want to alienate them because they know that they're going to start losing their gigs. You know what I mean? If they
how true is that though? How true? That's what they say.
Well, they're still be collectors.
That's an extra dollar going into their pocket. That's what they're saying. But if that's the case, you wouldn't have these apps out here with every single comic book on a 6-month delay. Like
Exactly.
they're not going to say we're worried about Yule Carter and Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California, the best place to go to buy comic books on the West Coast. They're not going to say we're worried about them, and then still keep these digital platforms like Marvel Unlimited and DCU.
Well, I think they're slowly niching them out. You know, inch by inch, every move they make is going to be pushing towards digital just because it's more money for them. Right now, they're making more money off the paper because they also add ads. If you buy a digital comic, there's no ads in there. If they added those ads, they could not only make them timed, so you have to actually watch them, but they would be targeted ads, which are both more money for the person who's delivering the ad.
Man
Little
Bear
inside technology, but still.
Man Bear Pig says if they go all digital, I go all back issues.
Exactly.
That's something too. If I didn't have a pull list, if I was just going month to month and reading digitally, there'd be so much stuff I quit reading.
Exactly.
Not that I don't like it, I just don't love it. So if I'm reading only digitally, then I'll go back and read something from 4 years ago that I want to read.
Exactly.
Catch up on all the great trades and backstories that you probably missed out on.
Right.
Yeah.
Stuff from yesteryear and the golden age and all that fun stuff.
And Marvel can't really make money off that either. You know, if you go back issues, that's the store making the money off existing stock.
Secondary markets.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good for those secondary markets. I wish more of that was happening now. You know what I mean? That people were buying more back issues.
I like to read old issues, but good gosh, it's hard when you do this.
It is. Exactly.
It's hard when the back issues you're looking for are not the issues they have in the bin.
Well, I mean, that's the hunt, though.
That is the hunt.
People don't hunt. People don't hunt anymore.
I do.
think that's the problem. I like to hunt, sifting.
I'm like one of that rare dying breed of back issue hunter, and it's getting harder.
I think that's what I think we're all saying. You know, comics are aging out of a certain market and trying to age into another market at the same time, and it's a difficult transition.
Ooh, X-Force #1 is it still in? I think
second printing though. It's a second printing with the gold background and then the Secret Defenders Thanos.
That's
cover.
cool.
Nice.
That is cool.
Batman 500, and you know that's a speculator market staple right there.
That was like what 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Longer than that.
Really? Yes, maybe.
2020 guy.
When it first came
out,
we're
all old people.
Slap like $10 on it. Now I get it for 99 cents or something.
Yeah, and that's one thing that would probably go away if they went all digital as the speculator market overnight.
Well, a speculator on new stuff, but the old stuff would all immediately become more expensive.
Yeah,
it would become more collectible because they're no longer making the medium. You know, the entire medium has changed. And that's to say Marvel and DC. You know, if one goes, the other will quickly follow because the distribution just can't keep up with just one of the big two. But there will always be comics. You know, there'll always be very independent press, and smaller press are always going to do paper because they're the old school stuff too. I mean, they're old school like we are. They want the paper.
That argument, that's the same argument that people make with records. You know, you can still get vinyl records.
Yeah, exactly.
Records today.
Exactly.
Granted, they are a little bit more expensive, but yeah.
But they're also a lot better. You know, they're collector's pieces. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
They got cool jackets.
They do.
We don't buy things with enough jackets anymore. My wife got me all the Jaws pops except for the shark without the tank.
I got the shark with the tank.
I got that too.
Dude, I'm going to have to get that Batman 80 Years of Batman.
Oh, with the light?
The bat signal. You know I'm going to have it shining up there on the wall behind me.
Oh, dude, it's so rad.
The Batman Begins pop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pop moment, movie moment, yeah. They've also got the Pop Nova, which is a previous exclusive. Oh, it's rad too.
It is.
There's too many.
There will always be too many pops.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Move on.
Like a
do we want to talk about Walking Dead or not? I really don't want to spoil Walking Dead, but it's out there.
It's out there. Not only that, Kirkman pretty much said that he was going to do this. You know, just say it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be blamed.
Let's just talk about it in general. What is it? How can we?
What does it mean moving forward? I don't know. I haven't been reading Walking Dead going backwards. So I'm not really sure.
That was the sad part for me. What was the?
Yul Carter said, "Do it." Rick Grimes is dead.
Yul Carter said, "Do it." See, Yul Carter was the one who said, "Do it."
Adam did it, but it's
Rick Grimes is dead, and not only is he dead, he died and turned to a zombie, and
Carl had to kill him.
Carl walked in on him and had to put him down.
The sad thing for me is the last thing I read was the 15th hardcover, and I don't know how many issues behind that is. Do you know how much more powerful this would have been to be invested in the comic and reading it and getting that shock value? But instead I get a message in Messenger saying, Boogie, watch out, there's crap everywhere.
Yeah.
So then it's like I see something and it says find out the future of Rick Grimes. Well, he's dead, clearly.
6 foot deep.
Clearly.
So I went ahead and bought it digitally, but the thing is I've not read it since the 15th hardcover, so I don't know how many issues I have.
Honestly, I think after the all-out war and the time jump, when they introduced the new characters, and then they went back to Rick Grimes, and it was Rick Grimes being crazy and beating people for being negligent. I was kind of like, we could have given Rick a rest. You had like these new characters that were introduced
from the Commonwealth. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, after all out war, they introduced a group of new survivors, and they had I'm trying to remember. It was they had basically like a cargo box, a shipping cargo box on like a wagon that they would hide in to protect themselves from walkers when herds come. And then they just end up going to Alexandria and meeting Rick Grimes and hanging out with Negan. And I'm like, we could have took a break from Rick Grimes for a while and learn about these new characters, but no. It went into that, the Whisperers War, the Commonwealth, Princess. I'm just glad that Rick Grimes is gone.
I think it was Man Bear Pig.
It's overdue.
I don't know if he's still in the chat or not.
It's like Carl
that tweeted out that Robert Kirkman should end this on issue 200 now after this decision.
Man, I don't know about that. Robert Kirkman has always said from issue 1 that the reason he did Walking Dead was because he never wanted to see zombie movies end, and this one he could do it forever. Maybe pass it on to somebody else.
That's 200. That's what I was hoping.
You know what I mean?
After the time jump, was they pass it on different group of survivors. Like, we have like Fear the Walking Dead, which takes place out on the West Coast.
Exactly.
He could have gone that route. We could have given the people, the war's over. There's a stable colony of people in Alexandria, and let's go see what happened in another part of the world. We don't even know if the zombie virus spread to like the old world. There could, the British, Europe, Asia, they could all be like, it could be like reverse 28 days later where, they've isolated the, North America and South America.
Don't be guessing now.
I was going to say, what are you going to do? Go to Europe and it's just dudes going to work every day? Who wants to read that?
No, I'm saying Europeans show up and they're like, well, there are survivors in the United States. There's survivors in South America. Let's help them rebuild. Let's
not.
But it could have been like a reverse 28 months later or something like that. I'm just saying,
it could continue without Kirkman. If we're looking for a fresh Walking Dead, I think there's still a place in comics for the Walking Dead. I think Image maybe doesn't need Walking Dead, but kind of really wants to keep Walking Dead.
Well, there's something to say when you've got a comic book and you're on issue 192.
Saga's ending too. Those are the two biggest books at Image Comics now.
Brian K. Vaughan said that Saga will end after so many issues. Kirkman didn't say that.
Man Bear Pig said there should be a spinoff. The Walking Dead is Rick Grimes' story, and I agree. I've argued that on the TV show, and people are like, "No, it's about everybody. It's a freaking Rick Grimes story." That's what
this is how they're going to introduce Daryl into the comics.
I'm done. We can move on. Anything else? Are you guys ready to talk comic books?
I don't know. Was there something else? E3's going on. Anybody doing E3? Anything?
Oh,
I was gonna check out the Bethesda stuff after
I'm watching
the
all of
podcast.
it. I
saw the gameplay footage for that Star Wars game. It looks awesome.
Snap! It looks cool. You can like stop a laser bolt in midair, like Kylo did, and then like force pull a dude at you, and then choke him, and then put him into the path of that laser beam, and then let the laser beam go. Dude, yeah, that's pretty rad. It's all how it plays. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm gonna do to Leroy in the Tennessee street fight.
Yeah, hold him in front of my choke him. Hold him in front of a laser blast. Yeah, that's cool. I'll be watching all that. So we may have more next week because they're supposed to announce an Avengers game, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be at the Xbox panel, which starts at 3:00. So yeah, let's talk about comics.
We got to wrap this thing up quick. Why'd you tell them that? There's one person left in the live chat.
Sorry, everybody. They'll probably announce it at the end, so you're good.
We're gonna get into some comics. This is gonna be fun, but the fun one's a few comics away. So stick around.
They're all fun. I'm gonna talk shit on all of them.
No, you're not. There's one you're gonna praise, and we're gonna argue about it. I can't wait. Let's talk about War of the Realms. This is gonna take 2 seconds. Don't worry.
War of the Realms #5, written by Jason Aaron, art by Russell Dodderman and Matthew Wilson, letters by Joe Sabino. This is my opinion on this. This is like WCW's World War III. There's the main event. There's just a bunch of stuff happening. At this point, for me, I feel like it's hard to keep up with, and then come to find out this is all just seems like it's setting up Jane Foster's new series coming up in July. And that's pretty much it. There's just a bunch of more fighting, and Jane Foster says there can be more than one Thor or whatever, and there you go. She's going to become Valkyrie and have her own book
again.
Yeah.
And yeah, War Realms.
I agree 1 billion%, and I rarely exaggerate. This is a big commercial for the tie-ins, man. There's not really even a plot to this main series. It's more of a plan. And the plan is go pick up every other book so you can keep up with the plot. The actual story seems to be happening in all of these tie-ins. And that's fine if that's how you want to set up an event. But it just feels like I got sort of kicked in the butt because I didn't realize this is how they were setting up their event.
What's this event? What's this event supposed to be about? Who is it supposed to be about?
I don't know. The war. I think it's not about.
Before we read a single book, we were told Jason Aaron's writing it. And whose story is this? It's Thor's story. He's not even in it.
He's barely. Yeah.
Yeah. He shows up naked upside down. And
the worst part is the Thor tie-ins, issue 12 and 13. He wasn't in either issue. He's not been in his own comic book for 2 months.
I don't understand it.
Do you know what this is like? Ralphie Parker when he gets the decoder ring and does jumps through all the hoops, and then it's a commercial to drink his Ovaltine.
I'll be out of the bathroom in a minute, Mom.
Yeah.
You're right, dude. It is. Yeah.
When we were talking about it in our private chat, I said it's 2 issues too long. But what are you going to make it, a 3-issue event? But I don't know.
They should have.
It's giving me event fatigue again, which happens all the time towards the end of an event. But now we're going right into Absolute Carnage.
I'm okay with Absolute Carnage because the previews, few pages of that look amazing. So,
but that's just a few pages of a mega event.
But
they sold us on War of the Realms too.
I was not on board with War of the Realms from the get-go, man. I was not. I was going to skip it all, but I picked it up, and I've been disappointed. I'm glad I've been disappointed. It just proves me right. I shouldn't have picked this up. But Absolute Carnage, pick that up.
Whose fault is this, man? Is this all my fault?
No, I'm not. There's no blame to go around. You weren't there swiping my credit card at the comic shop. You know, you weren't crossbow to my head. Gomer, buy this book. But whatever. It is what it is.
No, I just did that to Adam for issue 6.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get lucky and Carl will bust in the door and shoot me in the head.
Carl!
End it all.
Girl!
I'll tell you what, we don't have to read it and talk about it. How about that? You can.
Well, there's
save
only one
yourself
issue
5 minutes.
left.
No. We don't have to read it.
I'm reading it now.
I'm
Just out
reading
of
it.
spite.
I'm gonna read it.
I'm gonna read it out of spite.
Out of spite.
Don't tell me what I can and can't
Gomer,
read.
do you hate read comics?
Yeah,
I hate this, but I'm gonna finish
It's
it.
it's like angry sex, but
It is.
but on comic books.
Wow, that
It
took
is.
a weird turn.
No,
It did.
he's right. I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, I do tend to do that. It's a perfect analogy. I'm angry reading this comic. Come here, War of the Realms, and I backed it up against the wall.
Wow, that's too
And-
much. Too much.
Adam
too much.
took me there. I'm just following that train.
We got 7 in the live chat. Do us a
So
favor.
maybe you
Close
don't
the
need to
live
follow
chat.
that train sometimes.
Close the live chat. Hit the like
You
button.
can let that train
my
leave
point is pointless
detection.
when David's talking.
Don't smash that like button. Just give it a slight caress.
I was trying to get some likes rolling, but
Gomer goes to the comic shop, and him and all of his buddies run a train on the panels.
We do on War of the Realms.
okay. Yep, we're not getting any monetization. for
That's
this
kind of
video
what we
now.
did. That's kind of what we did.
I have no idea why YouTube crashes during our live stream. Oh,
Yeah, that was like a nationwide outage, like a worldwide.
and it was all our fault. It was all our
It's all
fault.
our
Because
fault.
we were talking about. Never mind.
Just wait till we start talking about Alex Jones here in a minute.
Oh no,
You want to talk about Thumbs number 1?
I do. This is 1 of 5. Sean Lewis and Hayden Sherman did all the work on this. A rich tech genius gives poor kids and their families technology like games and virtual artificial intelligent nannies in the guise of helping them out, but he's actually training an army so he can take down the government.
So this is like the guy from The Simpsons, Scorpio or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
he's like an evil Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So it follows these kids who are gamers, and they go to the chemist school owned by this rich dude to train.
Do you like my thing, Flower?
This book did a really good job, I thought, of telling a non-linear story. You know, it jumped around. It gave you the good parts first, enough to get you really into what's going on, and then it told you how those things, what the genesis of those things were. And I thought it was really well done. I also like the art in this a ton. It's all monochromatic gray
With
and
pink.
only the pink, and it's only pink highlights, which is a weird color, to choose. I thought anyway, weird choice,
It is.
but it worked. But the pink is only on technology, it seems.
Yeah, that's some kind of this home is using technology, or this thing is
Yeah, and they
connected.
have it on their bodies. It's like built in. But it was cool because at one point, like, they're watching TV and they're watching, and I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but there was like an Alex Jones type character for a few pages who was spitting all of how awesome technology is. And of course, everybody should have it. It equates to freedom. And when they were watching the TV, the kids who were watching it were bathed in pink light, and it was just really well done, I thought, in the overall context of the social commentary that was going on. And this social commentary was loads better than the social commentary centric book that we're going to review in a little while.
That's where Alex Jones was.
Yeah, right.
Not this one.
So if we're talking about this week's agenda in that context, this was a lot more subtle, a bit more removed, maybe in a science fiction sort of way, because the sci-fi is a little bit deeper here than it was in the book we're going to talk about. That was just superhero sci-fi. But this sort of presents the scenario based in fact in like a future that may happen, but it lets us decide.
Oh, man, you're saying everything I'm going to say in a minute.
You know what I'm saying? It gives us this scenario where it's very close to what's going on now, where we are getting so addicted and reliant on our technology, and our children who began their lives in this inundation of technology have come to rely on it to the point where their parents, also possibly because of how terrible society is, have to work so much and so hard that they are not able to hang out with their kids. But technology replaces the parents in a sort of nurturing way. And there's good and bad there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love it when my wife's having a bad day and I go get my daughter's tablet and the and the tablet babysits my kid. But it's no different from my parents sitting me in front of the TV watching Sesame Street when I was a kid. But is it to the point now where it's too much? And can we even do anything about it? And that's the question presented here. And it's done, I thought, beautifully, man. I wish this would have been our book of the week, dude. I loved this so much. It was so good. I loved it.
I should just delete all of my notes. You pretty much summed up the way I felt about it. I like this. I like the artwork, the pacing. I don't know if you said that. You may have said that exact word. The pacing was great. And it's exactly like you said. As I was reading the opening, they hooked me from the beginning to where I cared. So then as I'm reading that, I start thinking, man, they need a little bit more. They need to let me know what's going on. Like, this is cool. I want to know more, but I need something else. And then you get that flashback 2 years earlier. And it's like, okay, you summed it up perfectly. You hooked me. And now you're giving me that information to let me know what's going on. Just very well written.
Yeah. I kind of looked at it as the perspective of a guy whose life is flashing before his eyes. And we're getting that view.
And that sort of
even said that. They even said that.
And that did sort of come to light at the end when it's the big reveal that, you know, in the first part when he dies and they put him under, he comes out years later and everything that was just established as the status quo is different. So in issue number 2, it's like, okay, I'm with this guy. I understand what he's up to, how he got in the predicament he's in. But now I'm also intrigued about what the new status quo is like. What's happened now 3 years later? So it's weird because at some point in this podcast history, we have griped about books going in one direction and then by the last page taking a left turn, you know, and going a different way. But this is kind of doing that too. But I'm compelled to read the next issue. I loved everything about this, man.
I really enjoyed the art because it had a very Frank Miller-esque kind of style to it. Sin City.
Sure.
Kind of appeal to it. Yeah. The use of colors, like you mentioned earlier.
A lot of motion in the art too.
There was
a lot of when stuff was moving, it really looked like it was moving.
Especially when Nia was trying to get him into the operating theater with on the gurney.
Yeah, and that little scene where he's playing the game and they're all in there and he's climbing up trees and stuff. Just simple things like that really worked for me. Bottom to top, dude. Just such. I can't say enough good things. I'm so glad I got to review this on the show.
Look at I was just reading what Yule posted about the 2 minutes ago trope.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had trouble focusing on on this book, and I don't know if it was the art or I like the use of color, but the art and what was going on, it just, I had a hard time focusing on this thing, and I can appreciate it more after Gaumer and you all going into it, to the point that maybe I need to go back now and it might help me focus a bit, but yeah.
But the story's good though, right? I mean, it's with the whole video.
It's a good. It's like
it's enough to keep me intrigued.
It's almost like Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Esque.
It is. Dystopian.
Where
technology. Yeah.
Yeah, where it deals with the pros and cons of technology. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's a relevant story. So
yeah, I'm joining. You know, Mark's evil Elon Musk's army. I'm doing it. Sorry.
You like this flamethrower?
Yeah.
Evil Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's the guy from this book, right? Evil Elon Musk.
Yep.
Yvonne Musk.
Yvonne.
Sounds like a cologne.
Sounds like a wrestling tag team.
Elon Musk.
Evilon Musk.
Yeah.
All right, let's jam through this one real quick. Star Wars AOR Luke Skywalker #1, written by Greg Pak, art by Chris Sprouse, Scott Koblish, Stefano Landini, inks by Carl Story and Mark Deering, colors by Tamra Bonvillain, letters by VC's Travis Lanham.
Thanks, Travis. Whoop.
The last issue in the Age of Rebellion series. We got Vader on June 26th, and then we move into the Age of Resistance with Finn on July 3rd and Captain Phasma on July 10th. I may be done. I may not read Age of Resistance. I'm not sure.
Those are Tom Taylor. I'm gonna be.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna be reinvigorated.
Okay.
That
I'm sorry.
Mr. Pack is done.
This is called Fight or Flight, and this takes place sometime between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Luke is like a legend at this point in the series. Everybody knows who he is, and the premise of this whole thing is mental warfare between the Emperor and Luke. And it's a simple concept, but I did like the way they used a dream sequence, and it was kind of like, what would happen if Luke Skywalker turned to the dark side? And it was almost like peaceful.
Yeah.
But the story was all right. The ending for me, though, was so full of holes. Where did the Empire go at the end of the book?
I don't know.
Because the whole thing is Luke jumps in this escape shuttle with a commanding officer because they knew the Empire would follow him because of a tracking beacon. Okay, so he saves the rebellion, and they're going to follow Luke. It's almost like I'm sacrificing myself, or I'm going to take on the Empire by myself. And then they just live happily ever after. What the heck happened to the Empire?
I don't know.
That's a huge plot hole for a one-shot.
Bureaucracy.
I didn't like this at all, man. The inconsistent art doesn't help
It's
anything.
killing this whole series. It's killing this series.
That is hurting it, but I just don't know if Greg Pak can write a one-shot. It doesn't seem like there are. Maybe it's Jodie Hauser, tainted the well for me with Awesome, because her one-shots were all fulfilling. It was like a small snack. You know what I mean?
We were so excited for every issue.
Yes.
And all we've done is rip on it since Greg Pak took
It's
over.
like he can't provide just a satisfying 32-page or whatever small Star Wars story. And Jodie Hauser did it so well. So maybe she tainted the well, but I don't know, man. It doesn't ring my bell the way the other ones were. This was just okay. If I wanted to read just okay Star Wars, I'd read the main title. But whatever. That's it. That's it.
That's all. Nobody else read it.
No one else read Star Wars.
I'm sure nobody else read it. Let's move on.
All right.
It's time for the main event of the evening. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Oh, David's doing it? Crap. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then we'll get back.
All right, David, listen.
Yes.
Listen. This is going to be a great conversation. So let's dial in our review, and let's get into the actual conversation.
What was there a review of this?
Yeah. No. I bought it digitally.
Oh, okay.
You didn't read it, did you?
No.
That's fine. You didn't
I was just making sure I didn't miss something.
Let me tell you something. Once we get into it, you can jump right in this conversation very easily.
I think so too. Dave is not sure what to do now.
Just give us, dial it back, short and sweet and to the point, and then let's open up this conversation because that's what this needs to be.
Okay.
He's like, damn it.
Damn it. Why does it always happen on my watch? Let's go straight to the book of the week. Okay, so Ignited #1 from the new publisher Humanoid, Mark Waid and Kwanzaa Yosef are writers. Phil Briones is art. We got Andrew Crossley and Leonardo Pacioretty.
Sounds good.
On colors, and it's a larger world studio on letters.
We're going to sublease that out.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing that everybody's doing nowadays anyways. As a debut comic for a new publisher goes, I wasn't impressed.
Oh, okay.
The book felt a little tropey. The art was all right. Trying to give us the perspective of these kids after the shooting and all in an age of modern social media, and now they got these powers they're developing, and the first thing that the kids do with these powers is mess with the school system. If I had superpowers, I wouldn't be messing with the school system. I'd be messing with a lot of other people.
You'd be a villain. It's okay.
I couldn't be a good guy.
Yeah, it'd be too hard. Well, what's good and bad? That's basically it, man. It really is.
None of these characters I cared for. The girl that's kind of like the main character or the storyteller, she kind of seems unlikable.
Harsh, bro.
She was actually one of the characters that I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Not that I liked. I just felt so bad for her.
I like the viral and Wave guy. It was kind of obvious who one of them was.
If they have code names, it's probably gonna be the dude with the code name.
It's it's basically like a paintball mask.
Yeah,
covering his face, and he's still got like the cut off sleeves.
They're kids. They don't know what they're doing.
The most interesting character in this whole book is the Technicolor guy, Wave, and that was like the big reveal at the end of the book.
Yeah. Well, the big reveal was that, hey, look, here's these guys with powers. The premise of our book is, hey, there's guys with powers that wind up, coming into it. And the reveal was the premise.
Yeah, it seems awful convenient that 6 people from a high school that was involved in a mass shooting all of a sudden develop superpowers.
Well, let's know. Let me defend the book.
It seems awful convenient that they're all at this school at the same time.
What do you mean? The Fantastic Four wasn't that convenient that they happened to be in a spaceship when Cosmic Rays went by.
They were
that Peter Parker was on a field trip to a school when a spider bit him. I'm just saying. I understand. Are you saying that this origin story is less believable than like other comic book tropey? You're saying it's tropey, and I get it. It is. It's tropey as hell.
It's tropey as hell.
It's tropey as hell.
It's tropey.
The whole book is tropey as hell.
I thought, maybe it would be like, the way they're saying these people ignite, these superpowers are igniting. I would have hoped that at least there would have been some, a kid over here and a kid over here and some guy out. Reports are coming in all over, but it's like 6 people in one school.
Oh, that's tropey too. That's Rising Stars by J. Michael Straczynski. Everybody should read that. I love it.
Better.
I love it. They also did it in the 100.
That works a little better. It's a coming together thing. It's like, we all share homeroom.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right.
Who's our Professor X?
David is ignoring the giant elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Boogie. Go ahead.
This book is complete trash, man. And it has nothing to do with tropes. It has nothing to do with character design. It has everything to do with Mark Waid pushing his agenda on people.
Yes.
Let's start from the very beginning. Right out of I'll be honest with you. 100% honesty right now. I started not to read this. I listened to a review and I had enough to attack this book. And I said, that's not fair. I'm going to pay my $4 online on Comixology and I'm going to read it. And that's what I did. And at the very first 2 pages, these are our protagonists, right? These are the kids that we're supposed to fall in love with and we're supposed to support them and we're supposed to get behind these kids.
Instead, they're wrecking Alex Jones's home.
Instead, they burn a man's house to the ground and we're supposed to celebrate that. Why do these SJWs, I'm going to say it, why do they constantly want to use violence, punch all Nazis? Guess what? You don't do that. Is a Nazi a horrible person? Yes.
You can use the SJW term because Humanoids itself is using that term.
Exactly. So I knew that going into this, but I still gave it the benefit of the doubt. The artwork in this book is amazing. I think the story, man, it was dark and emotional. I think that Mark Waid could have used this story to raise awareness, because I'm not here to debate gun control. I'm not here to have that conversation, but I think that we can all agree, no matter what side of the fence you are with gun control, I think we can all agree. Everybody should be able to agree that we have a problem. And I don't know what the answer is to that problem, but I think that Mark Waid could have used this book to create conversations that we need to have to find a solution to this problem.
And with that said, the lead girl, if you cannot relate to her plight in this, her PTSD, her suffering from this event, you're heartless. And that's, again, me not taking a side, but it still pushes a real world emotion. Listen, Humanoid said that this is what this was going to be. It was going to be an in-your-face SJW thing. It's typical Waid writing. I don't know why we can't be, for example, eco-friendly without being eco-terrorists. But obviously we can't. If we're going to have somebody who is totally against something, they have to be against it to the point of committing felonies to make sure that their points get across.
Yes.
Come on. Heroes are bigger than that, dude. Heroes are bigger than that. This is not a hero comic. Those characters are not heroes. Those are the villains who do that. And if that's what Mark Waid is going for in this, he's totally missing the point, and he deserves to get bashed by both sides. Both sides need to be realistic about this.
But that side considers that a hero. They
That's
consider
not
burning
cool,
a man's
man.
house to the ground being a heroic act. It's not. You're a villain. You're the bad guy in the story. You're not the good guy.
That should not be the way you push your superhero comic. Listen, I still want to read this. Even the art with the bullets coming out of the panel, dude, that's inspired. That was amazing. And I agree so much. Mark Waid could have made this so much more than it was by doing just a few different things and making a few different choices. Instead, he didn't just have to cross a line onto the left or the right. He had to jump over to one side. And it's like I said, this book could have opened conversation, but it's divisive. Instead, it's me against you, my way and your way. It divides the country. You need to unite, and you need to open these conversations. The Champions book, that was it Charles? Who wrote that? The Champions?
Who wrote that Champions book about the school shooting with Miles Morales?
Was Jim Zub.
That book opens up a conversation. That's what this should be about. But no, Mark Waid wants to push his agenda. And something else later in the book, I got the freaking screenshot right here. They're talking about arming teachers, right? And I don't want to get into that conversation. But of course, when they bring that up, ask yourself if you want the white teacher to have a gun and shoots a black child because they say something they don't agree with. Really?
That's building in. All right. Now you can say if the shoe was on the other foot and there was somebody on the right that was biting into stereotypes, right? That's what he's doing. He's biting into the old white ladies.
That's what SJWs do.
I know.
They don't give people of color a voice. They lump them all in a box and say they all think this way. They all act this way. And it's freaking reverse racism, man. Leroy should be proud of me for saying this right now. I'm having the balls to say it.
I'm not even going to go that far. It's just not. It's thoughtless. What you're doing is you're doing exactly what you think that your opponents are doing, but you think that you can get away with it because you have a positive spin on it that's positive in your direction. You know what I'm saying? But what you're missing is the respect that comes with maybe kind of understanding why you feel that somebody who opposes you is being racist or insensitive. Not that they are, not your assumption that they are. Why are they? Because right now we're making assumptions that you are. And I have no doubt that Mark Waid, for a minute, wanted his writing to come off this way, but he should be taking this to heart. It doesn't matter that some people think that your writing comes off a different way. It should matter why they think that. And you're not doing anything to bridge that gap between that confusion.
Well, how much of this is Waid's doing, and how much of this is Kwanzaa's?
It's a joint effort.
It's a joint effort.
They're both the same.
And again, Humanoids was always going to be this, right? I'm not taking anything away. If I'm going to rate the comic on a scale based on the context that the comic was given to me in, it's a perfect score. It did everything it was supposed to do. It was SJW friendly. It pushed gun control. It had a sensitive message about the lead character, who you had a compelling, thoughtful presence about her. You were able to feel her pain through the panel, and it was great art overall. But damn it, why are you trying to do this, Mark Waid? Why would you want to separate people?
Exactly. I saw the potential of this book, and it made me hate it even more. It's like you said, we knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
And if we had just gone into it and just got that, and I didn't see any potential in the story, I would have just said, this book wasn't any good. And that would have been the end of it. But instead, I'm like, man, again, the girl that David doesn't like for whatever reason, I'm seeing her deal with this, dude. And it was so real. Her having the flashbacks and seeing that day was so real. And Mark Waid is just an idiot and freaking ruined it.
My overall point for this, and you brought up the Jim Zub Champions book, that book made you ask questions. It ignited a conversation. All this does is pander to an already established audience. And I just don't know if that's beneficial for the overall discussion, which is really the way we get to solutions. And if you're trying to bring attention to a problem without actually wanting to solve it, what is your point for bringing attention to the problem except profiting off of that problem in a twisted way. That's what this feels like. Because Waid isn't bringing up a conversation, he's choosing a side. He is using terrible events to help him sell a comic book. And to me, that's just not cool, man. Not great. That might have been over the line. I'm sorry. But it's terrible, man. It feels so bad because it was a missed opportunity. I really feel like this was a missed opportunity, and it is a problem, and it does need to be addressed. And I don't think this is the way to do it.
Nope. That's it. We got 10. We got 10 people in the live chat. Do us a favor, make sure you hit that like button, leave us a comment, and let us know what you thought of Ignited #1. Man Bear Pig says the only reason Waid did this is because of the past arguments between Meyer and Kwanzaa.
Maybe.
Well, one of his books is called Meyer. Come on.
And there's actually a preview of it in the back of the book.
Meyer's review of this book was the one I watched, and I knew how he was going to go after it, but he was still putting up panels of it for me to form my own opinion. But then, like I said, I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt and actually read it.
Yeah. And I'm going to continue to read the universe at the very least. You know, all the books are connected, but there'll be other not tie-in, but maybe other books that are in the same universe come out before the issue #2 of this comes out. So we'll see, man.
The only thing about the kids burning down the guy's house is we only see 3 of the kids. So I'm kind of thinking maybe he's establishing who the villains are. And like the girl that I don't like is a hero.
I don't think they're supposed to be the villains. I think they're supposed to be the heroes burning his house down.
If Waid is presenting them as something, he needs to present them as something. Right now, we know for sure that he's got the heroes hacking into the school.
Yeah, which is the same ones that burn the house down.
Hacking into a school is illegal. It's possibly a felony, especially if what the principal suggested, they took over the emergency alert system for the school. I don't think that's what they did. They hacked it a different way. But still, I'm just saying.
I think the guy, that Wave guy, actually has something to do with it.
Exactly. That's probably his
power. Maybe is something technological.
Sure. But again, he's doing it to. I'm okay with him sending a mass email to every student and trying to rally the kids to do something, but that's not what he does. He literally gave diarrhea to every single teacher at this school.
And that's supposed to be funny.
It's
you're taking a serious issue, and that's where you go with it.
Exactly. To shit jokes, dude. Fart jokes. Seriously, I don't know, dude. I think we've made a great case, even if you don't get political, that how this book can be both good and bad, depending on what side, not even what side. If I'm looking at this at how it was presented as an SJW left-wing agenda book, yeah, dude, it was wonderful. It was great. It means everything to me. But if I'm looking at it as just some dude in the center where I usually am, it was just a miserable missed opportunity that hurts.
Mark Waid could learn so much from Brian Hill. You know, some people could listen to this or watch this or be in the live chat with us and say, "Well,
Boogie's just racist. He hates black people. Hey, that's why he didn't like that comment."
You know what?
Is Gollum listening?
and that's why I love American Carnage from Brian Hill, because Brian Hill, it's like you said about the earlier book, subtle. Put little subtle. Give me realism, and that's what Brian Hill does. If you put Brian Hill on this exact book, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, because it would be subtle. It would make you ponder what you already think. This is just trying to reinforce what someone already thinks, while obviously upsetting people who think the opposite of that. I don't think that's what any sort of art should be. Have your art be divisive. Have your art have a message, but don't have your art be something that completely, at its heart, wants to separate people. And I think that's kind of what this is doing, man. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but that's what it ended up being.
Makes me just even more irate that it separates people, and Mark Waid considers himself the good guy in it. And it's like, oh my God.
But I mean, let me go back to the crappiest thing I've said about this the whole time. Why would Mark Waid care? He can throw out a pleasehelpme.org for just about any. My dog ran away. Pleasehelpme.org. Okay, here's $10,000, Mr. Waid. Thank you for, getting on our jock whenever we ask you to.
And Richard Meyer can do the same for the other side.
Oh, exactly. And that's why we're fence riders, man. Ride the fence. We call them as we see them.
It's us, bro. Sitting in the middle.
It's so weird that we called this almost the same way, but kind of different. You know what I mean?
What do you
and
mean?
David? And well, I mean, I don't know. We were kind of in 100% agreement about it, but kind of for different reasons.
Yeah.
And David was just like, I ain't touching that political.
David's talking about superhero tropes and the line art.
Well,
Gaumer was licking his chops, waiting on me to talk. He's like, "Get him, Boogie."
This is like completely broadsided by this. You know, you guys never brought anything up about this in the whole in the messenger chat
because I wanted to save it. I wanted to save it,
and you knew it was
I
going to be
appreciate
political.
that.
The whole book is political in a way. It's bringing up a subject that is at its heart political. So, I mean, there was no way we weren't going to touch on that. You feel bad for that girl, though, you know?
No, David hates her.
Yeah, I hate the lead character. I was like, oh, man, that's harsh. I felt bad for her. She was the only character I liked in this.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I thought you would have liked Alex Jones.
Dude, yeah. He wasn't even a good Alex Jones. He wasn't.
I was trying to explain this book to my wife, and she has no clue who Alex Jones is.
Yeah.
And so I was telling her why it applied to the book, and she was like, "Well, that's a horrible human being." And I said, "Yeah, but do you want to burn his house down?"
No, exactly.
Alex Jones wants to burn his house down.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's move on.
Exactly.
He would do that. He would do that anyways, just to say the government is after him.
That's right. They burned it down. Is it me again?
X-Men
burned it down.
X-Men.
Oh my gosh. All right. Uncanny X-Men number 19. Matthew Rosenberg. A lot of artists on this book. Line art, Carlos Villa, Carlos Gomez, and Bob Quinn. Inkers were Juan Velasco, Adriana De Benedetto, Michelle Delecki, and Carlos Gomez with Bob Quinn. Colors were Guru Effects. And that's a lot of artists for one issue. You kidding me? Joe Caramagna did the letters, though.
Joey C.
Only need one letterers. This is a good issue. We got all that backstory about what Emma Frost has been up to, and it appears that she's been manipulating everyone behind the scenes to meet her own ends while also kind of selflessly protecting other people. I don't know. This would mean a whole lot more if Hickman wasn't on his way. You know what I mean?
I read it late every week. I'll probably read it like Tuesday or something.
But if you ignore the fact that this really doesn't mean shit moving forward, this run of Uncanny X-Men, in the context of that whole Age of X-Men thing where everybody died, it's pretty good. I wonder if Marvel will even bother to wrap that up. You know, the whole Age of X-Men, because they're gonna come back, right? I mean, I don't know. That's your X-Minute. Tune in next week when I shit on another X book.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's talk about Deceased, and then we'll get into some random reviews.
Ooh, okay. It was great. You want me to go? It was
No, I'm in the live chat, and I'm dropping the ball. I can't multitask.
I loved it. Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairsine. This is exactly what you want from a zombie DC comic book. You know, everybody's turned into zombies. Taylor's got this cool knack for DC Elseworld style stories where he can just pull from DC Comics tropes and ideas and just, you know, build. Yeah, it was great. I had such a fun time. This might be one of my series of the year, man. It's been so cool so far.
Stop calling them zombies. They're not zombies. They're the They're not consumed by hunger, bro. They're not feeding on anything, bro.
Whatever. I'm calling them zombies.
How cool was Hal Jordan as a freaking zombie? I mean, as an anti-living.
It was cool. How cool was freaking Batman wearing the Mr. Freeze suit so he could stave off the anti-life zombie thing?
I like that.
It didn't last very long.
Long enough.
But I like
for him to get a message out.
I like the conversation with Superman when he had that on. And he's like, Superman, we don't have time to get sentimental. Stop.
Yeah, stop.
But then
bro.
when Damian starts talking to him, it gets pretty heartfelt, man.
It does. Tom Taylor knows what's up, dude. Yeah.
Batman turns and Alfred's got the gun. Holy cow, what a great issue.
So cool. I love it. What?
So good.
What?
And the artwork. Oh, God.
I love the fact that Black Canary is now Green Lantern.
Yeah, that happened really quick. That was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was.
I'm cool with that.
Comics Misexplained says Green Canary. Yeah, that was freaking cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, everything was cool about this. Go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
Nah, y'all said it all. It was good. look forward to issue 3.
Yeah, this whole series, man, it's just, who expects it?
This is a better event than War of the Realms.
Oh, 100% it is. Not fair.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
War of the Realms trying to be something else. It's just not working.
Man, I did not expect to like this at all, and I love it. So much fun.
Yeah.
I'm on board for this one. So much fun.
Even the variant covers. This issue had the Nightmare on Elm Street variant, but it was Ivy. It's just inspired. It's so cool, dude. Yeah, I love everything about this. Love it.
Did anybody read Savage Avengers?
I did. It was okay. It bogged down a little bit from the first issue, but still overly violent and cool. A lot of things I didn't understand. Like Conan just doing his own thing. That was okay, I guess.
I love that first issue, and then Deceased just pulled away from Savage
Yeah.
Avengers this week.
Voodoo was dead, and then what's Logan doing? Giving him a blood transfusion, holding his heart. Where does that come from? Logan's like, this isn't the first time I've held someone's heart. Dude, I've been reading Wolverine for a long time. Pretty sure it is, Logan. I'm pretty sure it's the first time you've held someone else's heart.
Yeah.
At least in this context. At least in this way. It was weird, dude. So I don't know.
All right. Let's get into some random reviews presented by Collar and Elbow Brand. You can check them out, collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code ComicCast at checkout to save 10% on all of the latest and greatest professional wrestling merchandise you could possibly want. Tommy Dreamer at the first AEW pay-per-view wore the Dusty Rhodes inspired Living the Dream shirt. So check it out. Promo code ComicCast. All the links are in the description. I'm going to just go through this. It's going to take me 2 seconds. It's the only book I got. It was Black Hammer 45, number 4. Jeff Lemire, Ray Fox, Matt Kent. The last issue of this World War II story told in the Black Hammer universe. At times it was fun. At times it was emotional. And it was fitting that this was released the day before we celebrated the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And for me, man, like I love World War II history. My grandfather fought in World War II. And when I read this, man, I was legit. And thanks for supporting me in this, guys. I sent in the message. I finished reading it. I'm like on the verge of tears. And I message you guys and I'm like, holy crap, I just finished Black Hammer 45. I really am on the verge of crying. And nobody responds. They're like, oh my gosh, Boogie has a heart. Let's delete this immediately. So great. Such a great conclusion. And you guys are heartless.
I didn't read it. I'm sorry. I'm behind on my Black.
When you
messaged that, I hadn't read it yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to.
There were just so many cool stories and videos that came out last week for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Like I think he was 97 years old, jumping out of an airplane where he had paratrooper down back in World War II. How crazy is that, man?
Yeah.
And just so many good stories and posts and then Yule Carter says he never cries. I don't either, Yule, but this got me. This was my jam. I loved it.
It was a fitting conclusion to a wonderful story.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm a robot.
I especially love the fact that it turned between Hammer and the Luftwaffe pilot. I forget the albino. It turned out to be fisticuffs, on the ground fist fight after the planes go down. That's how much these two hate each other.
That was rad. That sounds cool.
Were they in the present time and where these old men were going? That's what got me.
The scene at the memorial.
Yeah. That was tough. All right, somebody else talk before I start crying.
Got me misty. Misty.
Something in my eye.
Adam, go ahead, David. Go. I would much rather you go first.
All right. Ronin Island number 4. We go to the castle of the Shogun. We figure out that the evil doctor is trying to figure out how the Brion are created and makes Brion and unleashes a gas that creates Brion within the castle of the Shogun. And the old mentor character has become a Brion and they killed him.
What are the Brion? What am I missing with this book?
They're like
caught up.
They're like humans that have been transformed into monsters.
Oh, so those monsters are human. That must have been an issue 3 thing.
They talk in the earlier issues. They talk about the Great Wind, that they were escaping from. Why they ended up on the island is because the Great Wind didn't touch the island. But apparently, it's got like this Last of Us vibe where there's a fungus and it infects people and turns them into these creatures.
Oh.
And this doctor, the chief physician of the Shogun, is trying to figure out how to cure people, but he's creating more of these creatures in order to figure out a cure.
Well.
Sharky, the bounty hunter. Sharky got his man, or the old woman, and ends up losing him to another bounty hunter. And the old woman's like, if you take me in, you're going to die. If you take me in, you're going to die. And they get there, and the bounty hunters get killed. Excellent art. I love it. And then the last one I picked up was probably maybe what we should have picked instead of Ignited #1 was Category 0.
No way, dude. Ignited was great. Come on.
Ignited was awesome. What happened in Category 0?
Category 0, there's a virus that only affects 1% of the population, but that 1% of the population can develop powers. And instead, the government or the company responsible for the creation of the virus houses them in this like gated community to study them, but they're not prisoners necessarily. And we get to meet a professor whose husband is infected. She goes to visit him, and then goes to. At the end of it, there's a man who apparently is infected, and he can't control his powers, and he ends up destroying the building that she's in for like a bank meeting at the bank for a loan. That's where the book ends up at.
Well, they shouldn't have built that so close to that bank.
No, this was like after she visited him in the gated community. She went to a bank for like a loan or something.
What's that on?
That's on Scout Comics.
Oh, sounds dope.
Wow.
That's it. That's it for me. So we can go to Adam now, or we can go straight into the book of the week.
Adam doesn't have anything. How about letting Gaumer talk?
That's okay. Adam, are you not reading the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3?
No, I got it.
Oh, dude, you read it this week?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we have got to talk about this freaking book, dude. Are you serious?
It was fun.
James Tynion, Kevin Eastman, and Freddie Williams II all teaming up. The art goes back and forth to the first original iteration of Eastman. And it does that because they're having this weird multiversal incursion where Krang from an alternate universe grabbed the original Batman from the first DC Comics universe and grabbed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from their first universe. And because they're like the primes or whatever on that universe, he was able to make his own amalgam of Batman TMNT.
Which kind of explains where they came from.
Dude, this book is freaking so cool, dude. It is so fun.
I love the fact that Krang looks like the Anti-Monitor.
Exactly. It's so cool, dude. I love this book.
The Batman, the original Batman, is almost along the lines of Brave and the Bold animated Batman. Just cheesy, and the part where he says the old pen and the callus, and then the turtles are like, but you're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
So there's some funny stuff in there, and it's got everything. It's got mutated amalgam versions of people. It's got multiple universe people. It's a fun book.
Shredder and Joker are amalgam, kind of like the end of the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle animated, which I'm sure you've seen that too.
Yeah.
Oh man, looks so cool.
Yeah,
bought it, man.
It's a pleasant surprise of a book.
It really is. Loving
it. It did kind of take a different approach than the previous two series, and I like it for that.
Yeah. They're keeping it fresh, dude. Yeah, and still keeping it totally DC Comics. It's like it's Crisis on a Half Shell.
Yeah, that's what the teaser was when the hologram of Krang showed up for the Joker Shredder.
Yeah, everybody should read that. Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Jorge Jimenez, and Javi Fernandez on Justice League number 25. This is the end of the Sixth Dimension. Just weird and awesome and dope art, and probably my favorite DC comic book overall right now. It's so good.
It's raining kind of hard here, so I don't know if y'all can hear that through the microphone. Okay.
No, it sounds cool.
We're good.
It's relaxing.
I thought it was your heart just subtly beating from
It's like,
my
oh,
emotions.
I read Justice League too.
If it's beating that fast, then you need to call an ambulance.
Right. But
Mine is after drinking this coffee and energy drink.
Scott Snyder has said Justice League moving forward is an event comic. Every issue is part of the overall Year of the Villain sort of thing. It's cool. I mean, they were away in whatever, the other dimension, the future dimension or whatever, and they stopped that in a really cool sort of string of events where Batman ends up being the hero by being the bad guy. It just worked. But then they get back to their regular universe and realize that everything has just gone to shit because of what Lex Luthor did in the Year of the Villain one-shot. So fun. So cool. It makes me feel like I'm actually reading a shared universe. There's not much out there at even the big two that make me feel like I'm reading something that matters across everything. And it is. Even War of the Realms, a book that literally happens on every continent on the planet. This feels like it's even more, part of that bigger picture. So, and nothing on Justice League?
I've not read it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's great. Comics Misexplained loves it. That's all I need. Some vindication. Guardians of the Galaxy Annual #1. Donny Cates, Al Ewing, Teenie Howard, Zach Thompson, Lodley Nadler, John McCrae, Yildiz Sinar, Abraham Mustafa, and Philippe Andrade. This was just a lot of little one-shot stories, 3 or 4 page stories, but it almost felt like it was a primer for what's to come for the Marvel comic side or cosmic side of things. And if it is, this is where Donny Cates takes things with Quasar and Nova, and just, oh my gosh, it was so good. I loved it. That's it. That's all I got. Did we mention Deceased was amazing?
I love that David has the book of the week, and right as it's time for the book of the week, he leaves.
I'm back.
Oh, he's like, I'm not reviewing that.
Oh, man.
You guys are going political with that one, too.
You weren't doing what you did the last time you went AFK, are you?
I already did it. I heard something hit the door.
Oh,
he thought the government was coming.
Or his neighbors.
Was it poop?
That crazy kid.
It's his
wanting to get a ride.
Body. All right, let's get into the outright geekery. Book of the week. OutRightGeekery.com, your one-stop shop for news, reviews, previews, podcasts, everything geek at your fingertips. Huge podcast network. Go check them out, especially the Comic Book Bullies. I don't know if you guys saw it in the chat earlier. Serenity thought that the Comic Book Bullies, that we actually meant people that were bullying us that are comic book fans.
Oh, no.
No, the Comic Book Bullies are our brothers. But we are going to take them out in the Tennessee street.
Thank goodness that Comicsgate didn't go with that name. You know what I mean?
With the Comic Book Bullies?
Comic Book Bullies. Leroy would be like, damn it, we got to change the name of this show again.
Leroy versus Comicsgate for the title Comic Book Bullies.
Yeah.
We don't get bullied. We are the ones who knock.
Yeah.
All right, Geekery Book of the Week.
Dun, da, da, da. The Incredible Hulk, last call #1.
Should I lecture David on keeping this one short too? It worked out great last time.
I think he's got it. I think we're good.
Get him, David.
Peter David is the writer. We got Del Keown as the artist. We got Peter Segerwald and John Starr on colors was VC's Corey Pitt.
Pettit.
Letter. Admiral Pitt.
Nugan.
Letters.
Nougat.
Newen.
Nougat.
Win. It's win.
It's win,
bro.
dude.
Come on, man.
Newen.
It's not Newen.
Nougat.
It's Nguyen.
Nugget.
I'm not a nugget.
Okay, go ahead, David. This is uncalled for.
Okay, so there is some controversy with this book. Apparently, Marvel removed some panels, suicide panels, which, they in the MCU, they brought that up that Banner tried to kill himself.
Yeah. How about Suicide Panels is our band name for this episode?
Well, how about they had a suicide panel in it? So,
yeah. The other ones were, quote unquote, more realistic than jumping off of the Grand Canyon, which is something you'd have to travel really far to do.
Okay,
so
I'm
you'd
saving
have some
it.
extra time.
I'm saving it. Can we have this conversation?
All right.
I don't know. We may forget.
I kind of felt that I was reading a lost issue from the 90s.
I think that's what the point was. I think that's what they were going for.
I really enjoyed it because it did take me back to the days when this was the team on the book. Bruce Banner contacts a suicide hotline to explain that he's alone after the death of Betty.
But he calls somebody he knows.
He calls somebody who knows Betty, apparently.
But yeah, he knows that who he's getting a hold of.
Yeah,
this mass call.
And why does it always have to be Betty and Veronica when it comes to the Incredible Hulk?
Because it's Peter David, and he's
a fan of Archie,
school.
I guess.
He's old school.
But Bruce kind of feels responsible for the death of Betty, even because of he married Betty, and then the villain started targeting her. Killed her with gamma radiated blood in a transfusion, and Bruce is just explaining how he feels about it, how he's tried to commit suicide to kill himself in the process of trying to kill the Hulk, but he's come to the realization that the Hulk is not a manifestation of his rage, but is a manifestation of the Hulk's will to live. And that kind of goes over how Bruce and Betty met, and there's a couple of panels in here. If this is before the Gamma Bomb, so this Hulk, this gray Hulk in Bruce's back of his head, the voice in his head, was this already pre-existing?
Yes, I think so. I think that's supposed to be not his conscience, but like when he bites his tongue, so to speak, when he does
the monster in the back of his head.
We've all got that, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just me who hears voices?
It's just you.
My voice is telling me to eat more candy.
But it was, Bruce expresses regrets that, if he hadn't tried to save the person from the bomb, that Betty may have, he could have died, and Betty could have gone on to live a better life. Rick could have gone on to live a better life.
It's a wonderful life.
It's a wonderful life. But
it is. It's a wonderful life, Bruce Banner. That's what this is.
But ultimately, in the end, apparently this Veronica girl is involved with Mr. Hyde, and then Bruce is obviously nearby, and so Mr. Hyde.
I don't know. Hulk can jump real far.
Yeah,
so maybe not.
He was there pretty quickly.
Taking a big assumption there. Not really. It
but
doesn't matter.
Yeah, this was Hulk is stalking you.
Yeah.
But
that's what she should have been asking herself. How'd you get here so quick?
I'm the Hulk. I can be anywhere
I can be anywhere.
But I guess Mr. Hyde kind of pisses off the Hulk in regards to the death of Betty, and the Hulk pretty much beats the shit out of him and beats an apology out of him, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, this book was weird, dude.
Oh, and then Deadpool shows up.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. This book was weird. For some reason, it's Christmas time, even though we're in June. There's just fights like out of nowhere. I don't know. And then Deadpool for some reason. What is going on?
Was that if this was supposed to be like, I think of it as a lost issue of the 90s comic, and Deadpool would just been a relatively new character.
It's weird.
Running around in the X-Force books.
It's like, hey, let's just throw Deadpool in here because everyone seems to love him. They'll like this part. I don't know.
Deadpool fits well with everything, apparently.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. Whatever.
I enjoed it.
Yeah, I did too.
I really enjoyed it.
You guys both just crapped on it, and I loved it. It was great.
I'm not crapping on it.
I did.
Like I said before, it feels like a lost issue from the 90s. And that was the time when I was reading the Hulk. And I do appreciate that Peter David and Del Keown come back together to do this issue. Yeah. You can see it made me feel like I was in my younger self reading the Hulk at the time.
Oh, like a time machine.
Yes.
Doctor Who. Yeah, the art was really cool in this too. I liked everything about it except for the stuff that I mentioned that I didn't understand. Like it's Christmas for some reason. There's just out of nowhere fights. The girl he calls that he happens to know in the call center happens to know Mr. Hyde from like the night before. Wait, what? 90s. I think that's what you blame it on, the 90s.
I feel that this is a better nod to the 90s than
Major X.
Major X.
Oh wow, that's blasphemy. Those the old guys are loving the Major X, man.
Well, Rob Liefeld can go back to wherever hole he crawled out.
Yeah, a lot of people grew up reading this team. Man, Bear Pig in the chat. That's awesome. The David and Keon. Anybody else read this? No one else read this.
My biggest gripe.
Who do you think we are, David? Not reading the book of the week.
My biggest gripe about it is, this is a book about suicides, so there should have been at least, if you have these feelings and stuff, there are these numbers you could call. That should have been something that should have been included.
They had that.
Did they?
They had the numbers to call in the issue I read, the digital one I read.
It must have been the digital. Not
Yeah,
Check the last page.
copy.
I didn't see it. I didn't
was-
see it in mine either.
The last page is a advert for Marvel Visionaries, The Incredible Hulk, and stuff, but it doesn't show suicide hotlines and the actual.
Oh wow,
book.
weird. That's weird because it was.
See, I think for me, it's the conversation we were having earlier about removing the pages for the suicide panels. I think that should have been left. I think it should have been added, and it was all about easily accessible suicide. I think is the way they worded it for why they removed it. But for me, it's kind of like going back to Ignited and the platform and Mark Waid. This is a good way to raise awareness for suicide, and I think I can say this. I don't see why that would be offensive to anybody. I mean, listen,
I can't.
I've had a close family friend commit suicide. My stepbrother committed suicide. I think it's something that's pretty close to me, and I think if you put that stuff in there, I think it's just going to make the story more real. This was dark, man. This was sad. It was emotional. Yeah. And I think that just takes it a step further. And I think it's another conversation that needs to be out there, suicide awareness. And if they put the hotline in the digital version, it should have been in the printed version.
Yeah. Well, I think they forgot. I think they forgot to tell the digital people to remove it. I think it was a thought that they had after the fact, after it had already been sent to everyone, and they were able to remove it from the print, but not the digital.
Joel Carter says that the number was on the back page.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I had seen it on there. Anyway. Cool. Especially with the Hulk in this context, because the Hulk is a sort of an anti-hero in the fact that he's a monster, right?
Okay, I found it.
Good. He is like rage, personified. Like, and we all have that, it's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, right? And for Dr. Jekyll to want to kill himself to get rid of that anger, but that anger saying, no, your life is more than that. I think it's more poignant, that even your dark side can be the hero. I think that's what the Hulk has always been. Your dark side can be your hero. And I think everybody has that dark side. Everybody goes to dark places sometimes in their life, but the Hulk goes there every time. And for him to be this sort of, stand-in for suicide and suicide awareness, I think it's the perfect sort of analogy. And I think, like you said, just like in Ignited, they sort of dropped the ball here where they could have made a poignant, meaningful, thoughtful effort to have to have more than a comic book, to have something else. And I think it was a missed opportunity.
Is this the way Peter David's Hulk run felt? A lot of it, because I love this, and it makes me. I didn't read comics in the '90s. It makes me want to hit Amazon and go read some Peter David Hulk.
The Peter David run was always had a dynamic to it between the Hulk and Banner.
Yeah,
and when they finally merged personalities, and we had the smart, strong Hulk, and not Joe Fix-It.
Yeah. You should read Peter David's run on there. Peter David's one of my favorites, man. His X Factor Investigations run is still my favorite X run of all time. It's great. I love it so much. So yeah, Peter David, he's a living legend, maybe, man. Yeah. What else? Anybody else read this? Who else?
We're waiting on Adam to.
He's reading it. He's reading
it. No, it was all right. I didn't care that much for the book personally. Not really sure why. I just didn't. It just didn't. It was like, meh, another book. But I think I've always preferred my Hulk like the Marvel movies where he's just part of other books and teams, or he shows up in other books. A book I've never really been a big fan of the Hulk on his own.
Well, in-game Hulk is basically Peter David's Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Eventually.
not the Hulk itself. How he's sprinkled in.
He prefers his Hulk
Not
in
an
small
entire Hulk
doses.
movie, but other thing like such as the when he was part of the Fantastic Four, when it was him, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man. That's, I don't know. I really just didn't.
That was Joe Fix, wasn't it?
It felt like a bunch of bouncing around. I don't know. It was
history of the Hulk. This is your life, Hulk. And if you're not a fan of the Hulk history, you're not going to like this at all. Man, I love that Fantastic Four run. That's a good one too.
That was
that
fun.
other team. Oh, that's so fun. Cool.
Well, that's I think y'all did
Art
better
Adams.
explaining.
Thanks, Adam.
Cheer up, Buttercup. Let's rate this book and get out of here.
Rate it.
I rate it $2.99.
I rated it $2.99 as well. I thought it was a missed opportunity. It would have gotten a perfect score otherwise.
I'm rating it $3.99 because I don't think it's Peter David's fault that they made those changes.
Sure. That's fair.
$3.99. I was going with Boogie
Oh wow, awesome!
because this was the Hulk series I did read all those years ago, and this felt like that.
God, are you aging live?
I think he's dying.
Yeah.
I'm about to hack
I
up
think
the Slim.
the kid next door threw the dead cat against his door, and now he's got a noose around David's
You
neck.
sound like Benjamin Button in reverse.
New comic book day, June the 12th, 2019. Adam, what's on your radar for the book of the week poll? You can follow us at ComicCastPod on Twitter, and I'll get it posted right now. So you can go vote for the book of the week. Adam, what are you putting up?
I'm from Action Lab, Danger Zone, Banjax #1 by Raylan Grant, Fabio Alves. This is chapter 1, The Cure. It's a superhero is diagnosed with a terminal cancer brought on by years of using his own powers, defending the city. So while he's been defending the city, his powers have been killing him. And so he just has months to live. And with a legacy hanging in the balance, he launches a violent and misguided death wish campaign to purge the city of supervillains before he dies.
That sounds freaking awesome.
It sounds like a good premise.
Sounds like
Crap,
a
it
pretty good,
sounds
interesting premise.
So good. It's like a hero bucket list, man.
Yep.
Oh, it sounds so cool.
Kill
I cannot
everyone
wait to
that
read
needs to
that.
be killed. Yep.
Exactly. I cannot wait to read that, dude. It sounds so cool.
Well,
Who's
what are
next?
you putting on the poll, Mr. David?
I am putting on Sonata #1 from
Is that a
David.
car?
Yeah, it's a car. It's like a 4-door coupe from Kia.
Can't wait to read that.
thought
can't
it-
wait to.
I thought
can't
it was
wait
a
to drive it.
singer. I thought it was a singer. Oh no, that's Sinatra.
Oh,
David Hine with Brian Halberlin. Two cultures clash on a planet they believe is their promised land. The Rands are a peace-loving people, and the Tayans are a race of warriors who seek to colonize and control. The mysterious sleeping giants also call this place home, but no one knows if they're monsters or gods of legend. And amidst all this, a young woman named Sonata is willing to break all the rules to find her place in this world, and she's not about to let sleeping gods lie.
That sounds okay.
Sounds interesting.
We'll see.
Comics Mystic Plane says make it an extra sized issue and go longer. That's going to
This
happen in a
week?
few weeks. 150 is going to be an 8-hour podcast.
I can't do it this week. I got the Xbox E3 conference in like 30 minutes, man. I can't wait.
Oh, that's right. That was your time. Okay. I got
yeah,
confused.
yeah.
All right. My book of the week is Event Leviathan. You know what it is. You know who writes it. You know who's doing the art. So
And your winner, Silver Surfer Black #1, Donny Cates, Trad Moore, spinning at Guardians of the Galaxy #1. He was in a black hole and he's still there. So we'll see what happens. I was interested in this, yes, but I'm even more interested in this after reading Guardians of the Galaxy Annual this week. So yeah,
What does
Can't
that
wait for
say
this
for
to
Donnie
win.
Cates? What does that say for Donnie Cates?
He's at the top of his game right now, man. He's royalty right now in the comics industry.
How long until people start hating him? How long?
Oh, exactly.
This
That's how
issue.
it works. That's how. Well, absolute carnage. They're going to hate him when that happens because he's going to do something. And he's already gotten some beef. He had a Venom issue that people didn't like. The whole shit between whatever the host and Venom. People are hating on that because they thought they wanted some romantic thing between. Oh, whatever. Anyway. Man, did you see his tweet where they're talking about what's your most whatever comic book opinion controversial, and he put that the whole Superman being Clark Kent is outdated and passe and it's stupid. So then that got people talking, oh, Donnie Cates going to be writing for DC. No, he's not. Shut up. He's not. It'd be great. I'd love it. But I don't know if I'd actually want him writing Superman.
The death of Clark Kent.
I want Donnie Cates writing Green Lantern.
That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh my. But not Hal. I want him doing what's his name? Not
Guy Gardner?
Kyle. Yeah, Guy Gardner. Yeah, with that attitude, love it.
Getting punched by Batman again.
Yeah.
Dude, get more of those Justice League International covers that are always fun.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap it up. ComicCast issue 147. Hit up Twitter at ComicCastPod and place your vote for the Outright Geekery book of the week. We will be back next week. We're just a few weeks away from the huge 150th episode.
It's like a crossover.
What's going to happen? Oh, if Serenity's still in the chat, you'll be able to see the comic book bullies. They're going to be on for 150. Comics Misexplained is going to be on for 150. Yul Carter's going to be on for 150. And
I'm going to be here. I'm going to try to be.
Jeremy Massey may be on for 150. It's going to be nuts.
Huge.
And we have no plan, no agenda. We're just going to talk until
we can't talk.
I'm
anymore.
like, okay, this is over. We got to end this show.
3
knowing
hours.
our luck, knowing our luck, something just wild and crazy will happen. You know that.
Google will go down again.
Oh,
No, I
gosh.
didn't mean that. I meant something good, something positive.
Right. Jane Foster will end up becoming Valkyrie.
We already know that. It's happening. It's done. It's a done deal.
I already got the covers out.
Yeah.
All right. I tried to wrap it and then I just let y'all keep talking. All right. ComicCast 147. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.